Hi, it's graders. It's Mr. KV here with a quick tutorial for you on Khan Academy. We're looking at, if you follow the URL, you can kind of see where we are. We're in 8th grade math, Algebra Home, Algebra Basic Equations, Algebra Linear Equations, Word Problems. That's kind of where we are right now. And then if you keep following, we've got integer sums. And that's the lesson we're on right now, sums of consecutive integers. So let's talk about these words here for a moment. I'll break out my purple marker. See if it will let me write up here. No, it will not. Okay, so let's highlight this word then. Consecutive means in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Consecutive. And then integers, we're talking about numbers that do not have a decimal or fraction. They are whole numbers. Integers can be positive or negative, but I think for most of our purposes here, we're going to be dealing with positive numbers. All right, so that's a bit of a context for you. Here's a statement. The sum, okay, Control Z does not work. The sum of 3 consecutive odd numbers is 183. 183. Interesting. So let's break that down for a moment. We're going to be dealing with, and I'm already going to start setting this up, one number, okay, plus one number. And we know we're adding because we've got this word sum. Right, sum always tells us something is being added. And a third number equals 183. So that's the information that we have right now. The question is, what is the second number in this sequence? So what we're going to do is try to find this number. And then that's the number that we're going to write in the box right here. Okay. So let's use some algebra to try to determine what numbers go in these boxes. All right. We can set this up different ways. We could write x, and this is x minus 2, and this is x plus 2. And maybe I'm moving too quickly. Let me slow that down a little bit. So x is going to be our unknown number because we don't know without actually breaking out a calculator. And I know you could break out a calculator and play with different numbers and actually figure out just by trial and error what these three numbers are, but we want to use algebra to solve this equation. So we're going to use x as a variable, and how I would set this up is the following. I would write, and maybe I'll use a different color here. I would write x. Now, keep in mind, the statement, the sum of 3 consecutive odd numbers. That odd is important. Odd means, again, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so forth. You know what odd numbers are. So x is going to be the first number in the sequence. The second number has to go up by 2, right? Because if you think of odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. They're all going up by 2. And then we have a third number, and it is going to be, again, x, whatever this is, plus 4, right? Because this number is going to be 2 bigger than this number, which is 2 bigger than this number. All right, so we have our initial equation, and from here, all we need to do is simplify this, pull the like terms together, and then isolate the variable, isolate x. So maybe I should write that over here as kind of my steps. Steps. Okay. Group. This is murder. Why did I do this? When am I writing with my mouse? It's so painful. Group. I really need a stylus. Like terms. So, spoiler, that means we're going to be grouping all of these x's together. And by the way, we don't need to use x necessarily. In this case, we could really use any letter we want. And then, number 2, we need to isolate the variable, which, in this case, it's going to be x. Isolate the... Oh, I'm so sorry. Just hit your right arrow if you want to skip past this. Hit your right arrow to fast forward my terrible writing. So the variable is x. Okay, that was excruciating. All right, so we've got, let's look at what we have here. And now I could put these three numbers into parentheses. Maybe that would make it simpler for somebody. We've got x plus 2 plus x plus 4. Now, there's no multiplication going on here, so we don't have to do any distributive property or anything like that. In the next row here, and I'm going to break out my blue marker, I want to pull all of the x's together. So how many x's do we have? 1, 2, 3. 3x plus, and obviously we're pulling the numbers together. We've got 2 plus 4, so that's 6 equals 183. All right, so we've done step 1, right? Now we need to isolate the variable. So we want to get the x by itself. My next step is going to be to focus on this 6. I want to get rid of the 6. So to do that, I'm going to subtract. Remember, we can do anything we want as long as we do it to both sides of the equation. So we can add anything, we can subtract anything, multiply anything, divide anything that we want. I'll make that more clear in a moment. I am going to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation. So I added that negative 6. I'm going to show you that more clearly here in a moment. But remember, whatever we do over here, we have to do to the other side of the equation as well. Okay, so I'm going to use purple to show you what I did, what I added. I added this negative 6. And I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. So it's fair. Whatever you add to one side, you add to the other. Okay. Now, right away, as I go to simplify again, and I'm going to keep writing that equal sign, putting that right here, keep everything neat and tidy. I see sometimes students forget to write that equal sign and things get messy when you do that. So we've got 3x still. 3x, nothing has happened to the 3x. But then we have plus 6 minus 6. What does that equal? That equals 0. So that's eliminated. Eliminated. And then over here we have 183 minus 6. It's been a long day. Okay. 177. Okay, so we're getting a little closer. Now what we need to do is get rid of this 3, because once we get rid of the 3, then we've just got x, and we're getting very, very close to the final solution, right? So right now we're multiplying 3 times x, so we want to divide by 3. So I usually just do that step right underneath. I don't even rewrite it. I just draw it right underneath. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And again, I'll use the purple to show you what I'm doing here. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Okay. Now, because I'm writing 3 divided by 3 is 1, that gets rid of the 3, and now I'm just left with x. Brilliant! And then I'll show you a little division hack here, or multiplication hack. So 177 divided by 3 seems really difficult, right? But I know if I just add 3 to that, I get the number, let's do some scrap paper over here. I get the number 180. This is just a mental hack, okay? And I know just by looking at that, just by doing some quick mental math, 3 goes into 18 6 times. So I know that the answer to that division problem is going to be 60. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So if that is the case, go back to this 177, that should be just 1 3 less than this, right? So my math tells me, and this is, I'm just showing you my mental math. If I actually, you're going to use a calculator, but if I do the long division, and remember this part here is just in my head. If you actually want to solve it in terms of long division, you have 5 15 minus 17 minus 15 is 2. 27, 9. Okay, I just proved, kind of showed you the actual math on getting to 59. But this is my hack. I just look around for some easier numbers, and I can do 180 divided by 3 in my head. And some of you maybe can. If you can't, you probably will be able to soon. So that'll come. All right, back to our problem. X equals 59. Now, we are not done yet. That is so important to say, that we are not finished. Do not write 59 in this box. You will be incorrect, because look at this. The second, let's use a different color. The second number in the sequence, not the first one, the second. So the way I set this up, X is right here. We know that X is 59. But look at what the second number is. Second number is X plus 2. So X, if X is 59, we have to say 59 plus 2 is 61. Does that make sense? Before I hit check, X plus 2, X is 59. We figured that out. Add 2, 61. Khan Academy, come through for me. Yes. All right. Now, I went about that really slowly and carefully. I showed you a mental division hack. I did some really careful simplification. You may get to the place where you can do the entire thing in your mind. I am going to encourage you to write out at least something. Write out a part of that process to just think about, okay, how am I going to set it up with X plus 1, X plus 2, however you're going to do that. But keep in mind how I set that up to begin with, right? That is the way you want to go. All right, 8th graders, I hope that helps. That was a really long tutorial, but again, went through it slowly and carefully. Let me know if you have any further questions, or if you think I made a mistake, let me know in the comments below. If this was helpful, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I would so appreciate it. Bye-bye.